Now, do I think that there's conspiratorial elements to the Trump assassination attempt? Absolutely. Absolutely. Not in the way that people say that it's some kind of IRGC plot. In the same way that I think there's, as I've been talking about, the trials going on right now, I think there's absolutely a conspiratorial element to the Tyler Robinson trial as well, and the Charlie Kirk shooting. A lot of weird stuff going on with that, chat. A lot of weird stuff going on. Is it just the simplest possible explanation? Did Charlie Kirk's hateful rhetoric lead to someone taking a shot at him? Maybe. Is there more to it than that? I think it's possible. Charlie Kirk was killed from a fentanyl overdose. That's right. And as I've been saying, I just think it's worth speculating on possible ulterior conspiratorial motives for the Charlie Kirk killing, just because it makes people go insane. And I think just on that level, it's good to do. And I've been seeing reporting from the conspiracy debunkers. Here's what and Brandy also is someone that I think has done good work about other things. I'm not criticizing her, but I think that's one of her gigs, especially working for like MS Now, is being one of these conspiracy debunkers. And we've talked about the ways that like these conspiracy debunkers can help to confuse certain situations and solidify official narratives, which I think should be questioned in many cases, and this is one of them. This is what she said, though. I'm in court for the Tyler Robinson hearing again today, and the amount of evidence we got to take a look at just now is overwhelming. Prosecutors showed video interview of Lance Twiggs, text between Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson, private chats with friends who played D&D with Tyler Robinson, and a note, prosecutors say Tyler Robinson left for Lance Twiggs. In each one, Tyler Robinson seems to confess to the murder of Charlie Kirk, and in Lance Twiggs' interview, he says he met with Tyler Robinson in the morning after the shooting, where Tyler confessed again, cried, and said he wishes he hadn't done it and planned to turn himself in. As a small conspiracist creator outside the courthouse just told me, it's a bad day for the conspiracy theorists. So you might look at that and be like, well, looks like they got him. Looks like it's an open and shut case. Look, they even said that it's bad for the conspiracy theorists. You need hard evidence, and a confession, unfortunately, has proven not to be a reliable metric historically. Who knows where these text messages are from? In the world of Palantir and all these like back doors to private messages, do nefarious state actors have the ability to doctor or create text messages that were not sent by the accused person? Maybe. We don't know. There's a lot we don't know. Ballistics and crime scene scrubbing should be enough for acquittal in a sane society. And we talked a little bit about all this stuff about the exit wound, the shirt. There's a lot of weird stuff about it, chat. But again, I'm not even saying that the official narrative isn't real. It very well might be. I'm not making any definitive claims either way. I think the point is, we don't actually really know. And when you look into the geopolitical trends that were happening and the role or possible connection with Israel and their bizarre statements after Charlie Kirk's death, Kirk's own wavering views, trying to keep all these like young people in line who are being lost to Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes and these kinds of people, the anger in the donor class at Charlie's shifting views on this matter, I think all that really muddies the waters a little bit. If you ask me, I do think we do ourselves a disservice when we automatically believe the official narrative about any significant political event. Because more often than not, I would argue, the actual truth is a lot more complicated than it gets made out to be. Especially when there are these big geopolitical forces underpinning all these things. Here's Sam Twiggs' phone where some of these text messages were seen. And weird, these photos were taken of this phone with some damage. Unfortunately, what a coincidence. Some damage directly over where the time on the phone is displayed. Look at that. It's unfortunate when evidence gets damaged in this way. And what's this? What's this? And again, chat, I literally think that it's worth talking about this, even if it means nothing, just because it contributes to people on the right losing their minds even more. So just on that level, I think it's worth speculating on. Here's the thing about the bullet fragments.
Number 6. What is Exhibit 6?
Exhibit 6 is the bullet fragment, the bullet jacket fragment, as well as some other fragments that were recovered from Mr. Kirk at the time of autopsy.
Thank you. Going back to page 2, Will you read the first full paragraph there, beginning with Exhibit 6?
Yes. Exhibit 6 consists of one 30 caliber class deformed damaged bullet jacket fragment and 4 lead fragments.
Will you read the next paragraph as well?
The Exhibit 6A bullet jacket fragment could not be identified or excluded as having been fired from the Exhibit 1 rifle based on an agreement of all discernible class characteristics and neither sufficient agreement nor sufficient disagreement of individual characteristics. The results of the comparison was inconclusive.
So they can't match the bullet fragments in Kirk to Tyler Robinson's rifle. Apparently, there's a whole thing of like all these videos of Tyler Robinson allegedly like skulking around the campus in the day before the shooting, and his face never actually showing up on camera as well. That's the whole thing also. They presented, even at this trial, multiple videos apparently of Tyler Robinson skulking around the campus in the days before the shooting, and his face is actually not captured on any of these cameras at any time. I'm just saying, chat. All I'm saying here, I'm not suggesting anything. I'm not making any definitive claims about this. I'm just saying there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this case. And it remains very funny that they tried to turn Charlie Kirk into this like fascist martyr symbol for like exactly 1 week, and then they completely screwed it up, and it's just become a massive joke now to millions of people. And there's Shanghai nightclubs playing AI Charlie Kirk anthems as after-hours bangers.
That becomes a problem because the categories of objections that we have to this video recording, I'm going to talk about a little bit so that the court understands why Ms. Hunt's suggestion that the entirety of an exhibit, which may not be admissible under the rules of evidence at a preliminary hearing, be played in open court, and that the audio be captured by electronic media and broadcast. Because of our client's right to a fair trial, that's a problem. And I don't want to sound flippant, but this is actually the Ryan McBride 1102. The vast majority of this video is Mr. McBride testifying and Mr. Twiggs agreeing. If we were in a courtroom, it would be a leading examination virtually from start to finish. I don't want to say that every single statement by Mr. Twiggs is just an affirmation of what Mr. McBride says, but the vast majority of it is. That becomes a problem.
Pretty interesting, chat. It makes you think. It makes you say,
And what's your understanding of what the known scenes were? In other words, the area where there might potentially be evidence that you needed to process.
I know that the amphitheater area was cordoned off and managed as best it could with the number of people that were there. I was also made aware that there was a rooftop area that had been secured, and also an area off of the side of that building that had been secured by an officer.
And that building was the Losi building.
Correct.
Wasn't there also a bullet found on another building?
I believe an unfired bullet had been found on another building at some point during my time there on September 10th, yes.
Which building was that, sir?
I don't recall.
Was that considered a scene that was worth preserving?
It was not. My recollection is that that was accounted for as an ejected cartridge from an officer who had cycled his rifle.
Okay, I thought you said it was an unfired bullet, and now you're saying it was a
That's correct.
cartridge?
When a weapon is cleared, an officer would make his rifle ready, which would chamber around.
Oh, I got you.
My understanding was that that's how that was accounted for.
So an officer claimed that bullet belonged to him or her?
That's my recollection, is that was how it was accounted for.
And when was that accounted for?
I don't know specifically.
Do you remember what type of bullet that was?
I don't.
Was it a 30-06? Do you remember?
I don't.
Okay. Do you know where that bullet is
seems
now?
important.
I don't.
Okay.
Still don't understand how the video of him dropping from the roof shows him without a weapon, and the weapon is found fully assembled on the other side of the street. There's also footage from the rooftop that somehow don't actually capture the actual moments of the shooting. This man has this person has a fully assembled rifle, I guess, stuck down his pants in this moment. This person, whoever it is, It's a lot of I don't recalls and I don't knows. Do you know about this? New pics from the excavation of Charlie's crime scene show that they really did remove 10 plus inches of earth before paving it over. They fully just unearthed the entire place. They dug up 10 inches of earth and paved it all over. And this process started like immediately. At no point was this crime scene ever like secure. There was people running around and getting in there from moment one, and they dig up 10 inches of earth around the whole place and repave the whole thing. But why? It's a great question. That's all I'm asking. Why? And that's the thing. I didn't know Charlie very well. I had spoken to him before in DMs when I yelled at him in DMs about stupid bullshit that he was saying about the Canadian healthcare system. But here I am. I'm trying to find I want justice for this man. I want to find out what really happened. And his own friends are his own so-called friends are the ones trying to rush through this trial with all these problems and all these contradictions, and immediately disgracing Charlie's memory by suggesting that he was some like loyal servant of Israel and what Israel did on October 7th to all the burned out vehicles. To be fair, this is written in incompetence all over. It happens in 99% of cases since U.S. security forces are racist idiots, and they're all visible because of how highly popular this case is. Same as O.J. Simpson case. If every case and conduct of police is scrutinized the same way, nobody can be convicted because police conduct is racist and wrong in 99% of cases. And that's an important point. But it's also not, I don't think that's what you meant, but it's also not evidence that there's nothing weird about this case. BB is like, pave it immediately because we had nothing to do with it. Oh, there's this guy, of course. This guy who conveniently causes a big distraction. In the moments after the shooting, this guy causes this huge distraction. They think they've got the shooter. This makes all the headlines. Everyone is looking at this guy while the actual shooter is getting away. This man causes this big distraction. They later find child sex abuse material on his phone. Oh, that's totally...
How dare you! How dare you! How dare you! How dare you! How dare you!
Yeah, you're saying how dare you, but he didn't do anything. He was just saying stuff, as one does when there's this high-profile political assassination that takes place, and you have one weird guy stand up and go, I did it, causing a huge distraction and allowing the actual shooter to get away. The actual shooter who gets away completely clean, completely unscathed, and then a few days later confesses in all these electronic, highly surveilled communication platforms. Confesses, despite getting away completely scot-free. And they later find this man who caused this distraction to be in possession of child sex abuse material. All I'm saying, Chad, is that there's a lot of weird stuff going on with this case. Let's simply take a look at some of the evidence that Tyler Robinson was the killer here. Let's take a look at some of the evidence and what the state is suggesting is like proof that this is what happened. And let's think about some of these weird elements to this case. That's all I'm saying, chat. That's all. Is that so bad? Is that so terrible? And then you have guys like this, who this man is certainly not real. I mean, I highly doubt it anyways. You have stuff like this. Jonathan Plum. This guy's name is Jonathan Plum. Here's his Avi. You can decide for yourself if this is a real person. Jonathan Plum, Twitter bot, blue check Twitter account, who's very likely not a real person. No, it's literally standard procedure to clean up a crime scene. Where blood has splashed into asphalt, it must be dug up. You can't wash it away. Is that true? The investigators take thorough evidence from the scene and clean it so it can return to normal. I just don't think that's true. I don't think it's true that any time there's blood on asphalt in any crime scene in the United States of America, something that happens every day in the United States of America, you have to dig up the asphalt because you can't clean it and you have to dig up the asphalt. Is that true? I don't think that's true. I don't think that's the case. And on this like right-wing Nazi communication platform, you have literal robots posting and spreading disinformation like this. They famously repave all streets where people die and there's blood. He does look like a face from Guess Who. Like, bro, come on. What are we doing here? Just tear up the whole crime scene. What else do we have here? How about this? And you might say, Rob, look at all these people that you're like all these people here, they're all these like fucking weirdos and America First people. Well, I'm sorry, and I'm sure I don't agree with any of these people on 99.999% of every single issue. Unfortunately, some of these folks are the only people that are cataloging this kind of information, and everyone else that's on the left feels too like constrained by respectability to speculate on this kind of stuff irresponsibly. Well, I feel no such compunction to stop myself from doing that. I don't find myself constrained by these feelings of respectability. I'm more than happy to speculate irresponsibly about this or any other deep political event. So, you know, when the bank is robbed, they have to tear it down and build a new building. The screwdriver saga. On September 11th, CNN originally reported the screwdriver was found near the rifle. September 15th, Kash Patel went on national TV and changed the story, saying it was found on the roof and had Tyler Robinson's DNA, thus linking him to the alleged crime scene. On September 16th, the indictment of Tyler Robinson omits any mention of this alleged critical piece of evidence. In fact, neither the charging document nor the affidavit is of probable cause mention the screwdriver. The only piece of evidence that could ever even allegedly connect Tyler to the crime scene was left out of all documents. Yesterday, we found out that Officer Bagley took 21 minutes to get to the Lucy Center roof, and that his body cam died literally as he got there and captured no footage of anything on the roof. Another person with a badge was with him on the roof, but he didn't know that person and never got a name. No police radio chatter of the original roof search mentions any screwdriver.
We flexed all resources the FBI had and surged multiple air assets as soon as this shooting occurred. We were cycling in agents, evidence response technicians, hostage rescue technicians, and special operators in and out of Utah, cycling evidence back and forth on these FBI planes as soon as we could so that there was no delay. And what we did, once I got there, along with the deputy on the ground around 5 p.m. local on September 11th, was walk the entire crime scene, including the foots the suspect himself took. And what we learned was there was evidence, DNA evidence that could be collected and had been collected, including a screwdriver that was found on the rooftop. Also, we went over to the scene in the wooded area where the firearm was discarded, and the firearm had a towel wrapped around it. It's important. I'll get back to that later. I even walked into the wooded area in the ravine, so I knew from my investigative experience what I could bring to the table and what decisions I needed to make. And having the support of President Trump and the full support of the White House was what we needed for these resources to happen. And I can report today that the DNA hits from the towel that was wrapped around the firearm and the DNA on the screwdriver are positively processed for the suspect in custody.
So, like, what is this DNA evidence that's on a towel and a screwdriver? Like, has that just become because of like the CSI world and like all this like fake crime scene technology that like they tell us exists, but it actually is like completely does not even exist whatsoever? You just touch a screwdriver and there's DNA evidence that they can, like, you touch a fucking towel. You're just holding a towel and there's just DNA evidence everywhere. What's going on with that? So he shoots allegedly. So he shoots Charlie Kirk, disassembles the rifle. Is this the, like, Chad, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the official narrative, right? That we're being asked to believe here, right? He shoots Charlie Kirk, allegedly. He disassembles this rifle, puts it down his pant leg, goes across, while this distraction, which is just apparently just completely random and unplanned, this distraction takes place in the audience. This man takes the disassembled rifle, puts it in his pants, runs across the roof, just apparently not being encumbered by this large rifle that he's carrying in his pants, jumps down from the roof, completely escapes, and then he reassembles the rifle, wipes it with a DNA covered towel, and just leaves the rifle in the woods, assembled. That's the story, right? From the early CNN report from September 11th, authorities recovered a screwdriver near the rifle investigators believe was used in yesterday's fatal shooting of Charlie Kirk. Investigators believe this to be an indication that the shooter may have used it to disassemble and reassemble the firearm before using it. Removing the stock would help the shooter conceal the weapon in a bag or even in his clothing, they believe. There's more information about this screwdriver.
Were you
See you in
called to,
Valhalla, brother.
The crime scene at Utah Valley University on September 10th of 2025?
Yes, I was.
And were there multiple scenes that you oversaw or helped to process?
Yes.
We've had some testimony about the rooftop of the Low C Center. Did you oversee or are you aware of evidence that was collected in that area?
Yes, I am.
Was there a screwdriver that was collected from that rooftop?
Yes.
And do you know how that was collected and what happened to that screwdriver?
Yes, that was collected by the Utah Bureau of Forensic Services Crime Scene Response Team, or also known as our state crime lab.
And do you know what happened to that?
Yes, it was packaged, and then that evening there was discussion on who would take custody of the evidence, and I was there along with FBI. Then it was decided that FBI would take custody.
And did that evidence actually go to the FBI?
Yes, it did.
And was it sent for testing?
Yes, it was.
Where was it sent? Do you know?
It was sent back to their, I guess, their equivalent of our crime lab.
So then it's taken by the FBI. And there's another update. There's another update about this screwdriver. Do you feel insane, chat? Do you feel less sane than when you started watching this today? I hope so, because that's been the goal of this entire segment.
The towel and the screwdriver. That's all. Thank you. So if you'll read item 7.1 to the word contributors at the top of that page, if you will.
Yes. Male DNA was obtained from item 7 sub 1. Item 7 sub 1 was interpreted as originating from two individuals, one of whom is Twiggs. The DNA results from item 7 sub 1 and are 1.7 octillion times more likely if Twiggs and T. Robinson are contributors than if Twiggs and an unknown, unrelated person are contributors.
Thank you. First off, do you know who Twiggs is?
Yes.
Who is Twiggs?
Twiggs is Lance Twiggs. He was a roommate of Mr. Tyler Robinson.
So, but according to all this, the ultimate point of all this is that apparently, according to this testimony, the DNA on this screwdriver and towel is almost entirely from Lance Twiggs, who's this roommate figure that apparently Tyler Robinson allegedly confessed to. I don't know, chat. I just think there's some weird shit going on with this case. It sounds like that, yeah. It does sound like that, like some kind of frame up. And as I've maintained since the day that this happened, that maybe the official narrative about this is the real explanation. As I said it that day, I said it in the days after, and I'm saying it now. When you go out and like make your whole persona around like saying racist and transphobic and homophobic and Islamophobic statements, you're engaging in this kind of like clan level racism as part of your political career, deliberately trying to provoke people. I think it's entirely possible that you just piss off the wrong person. It's a country filled with deeply disturbed and alienated people with access to firearms. And I think it's entirely possible that that's all that happened. Okay? So I'm not ruling that out, but I'm simply saying there's some odd stuff going on with this case. Is it just police incompetence? Maybe that's all it is. Maybe just the police are so incompetent, especially when it's being run, when the FBI is being run by a literal podcaster, MAGA sycophant like Kash Patel. Maybe when you scrutinize their behavior, it's always going to look weird and bizarre because they're fucking incompetent freaks. And maybe that's all this is. No, I've not tried to reach out to Candace. I just can't. Clandis is the Eddington about Charlie Kirk. This is why I keep bringing up this movie. Precisely because of this reason. I have some exclusive footage. I have some exclusive footage of when they investigated Tyler Robinson's home and some of the disturbing spray paint at the crime scene. No justice, no peace. Right there on the wall. Cut and dry. Open and shut case. Look what was written on the bullets. Look at the text messages. Look, it's clear. It's clear what happened. It's obvious. It's night and day. Open and shut case. Couldn't be more clear. I swear the Eddington heads just get more and more vindicated every single day. Every single day.
While conspiracy theorists insist no 30-06 could possibly behave this way, the round blasted into Charlie Kirk's neck, crushed his vertebra and ricocheted downward toward his heart, only to be stopped dead by his legendary Superman neck of super-dense steel-like bone. It created no exit wound and lodged harmlessly just beneath the skin, which experts hailed as a miracle that saved the bystanders standing behind him. Up on the rooftop, Tyler Robinson didn't just break down his rifle. He shredded it apart in a ridiculous hyperspeed blur using nothing but his bare hands. Then he sprinted across the roof and launched himself off the edge with expert parkour precision. Tyler made the conscious expert decision to reassemble his rifle one last time and place it under a tree in a bush. He then changed back into his blue jeans and maroon t-shirt in hyperspeed. Time for ice cream. While conspiracy theorists insist no 30-06 could possibly behave.
Oh my God. I've said it before and I will say it again. I genuinely do sometimes love how fucking insane everything is. Sometimes you just have to laugh. Sometimes you just have to laugh and you have to look around and see how completely deranged our world is. And you just have to take it in. You just have to love it sometimes. Yeah, the AI Edinburgh voice is great. Incredible. No, we don't have any other choice. You can despair or you can just enjoy it. Like this, these are your two options. You can see on this surveillance footage chat, you can see there's a perfect point showing how tall someone would look walking past this point. This 5'11" man, you see it coming up to there. The same height as alleged killer Tyler Robinson. We're through the looking glass here, people. And just please, chat, just the caveat here, this is not an endorsement of any of the people that we're looking at right now. It's not an endorsement of their views on any political subject. Okay? I just want to make that abundantly clear. In fact, many of these people I don't like at all. But sometimes in the search for the truth, you do have to go down these paths. So one article proved two explanations as to why the scene was scrubbed. One, emergency order from FBI and governor on Sunday demanding it done Monday. And it was scheduled, or two, it was scheduled before dude got shot. The university, government, and FBI didn't say shit. Oh, for sure, we were just scheduled to tear down that whole area on Monday, and even though there was the most high-profile political assassination in quite some time that just took place, I guess we'll just go ahead and go along with that anyways. How long can you possibly need to look at a crime scene? What, an hour? And this is the point. This is the only clear image of Tyler Robinson that's been taken in any location on September 10th or 11th. And nothing that has no video footage that has been shown of Robinson in those cases. No other footage that's been presented by the state in this case actually clearly show his identity like this. Only this when he goes out for the post-assassination ice cream. How is he bending his legs while walking if the gun barrel was there? I don't know. I don't know the answer to these questions. This is the point. This is the problem. I just don't know. I just don't know, chat. I actually just want to believe and move on, and they just can't prove shit, and it's annoying. Again, I do support anything that's like causing this major split in the right. And like Candace Owens says a lot of things that I find abhorrent and disgusting. And for her entire career, that's how I felt. But she, especially over this Israel stuff, has been creating a major fracture in the right-wing movement in the United States. And I support that endeavor. Just on that level on its own. Like, we don't know what the truth is. We don't know what happened. Maybe the official narrative is true, as I keep reiterating. But what I do support is the ongoing deterioration of people's mental states, especially in this right-wing movement, and this ongoing fracture in the right-wing movement regarding Israel especially, but the way the Charlie Kirk assassination has been folded into that whole rift. And as much as I dislike Candace Owens for a lot of the things that she said over her career, I do support her endeavor to continue making people as insane as possible and widening this like rift in the right-wing movement. And I support her in this specific context and not in any other context. Let them fight Godzilla meme. Look at this. This is crazy. And sorry, but a lot of parallels with the JFK and the multiple Lee Harvey Oswalds. It's like you see the maroon shirt and the hat. Look at this. Look at this footage, chat. Notice what you do not see. Notice what you do not see in this footage.
And Agent Davis, who are we seeing here?
That's Tyler Robinson.
And although we are watching it on video, what is he wearing at this
Come
time?
on.
He's working a dark colored baseball cap with has like I believe it's like maybe the Hurdy symbol on it, like a white symbol on front. It's a burgundy short sleeve shirt with.
And Agent Davis.
Look, there he is, clear as day. Maroon shirt, hat. Do you see his face? Well, no, but look at the shirt and the hat. It's got to be him, right? It's a maroon shirt. And apparently there was a lot of young men walking around in those maroon shirts and light shorts. There's only one guy in Utah with a maroon shirt. That's right. I don't know. I'm having fun with this, chat. I'm having fun with it. How about this?
Israel bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of...
One day before the assassination.
Israel bombed Qatar, which houses a lot of Hamas officials. What happened here? And if I were to introduce just the skeptical question, will this potentially endanger America's own interests in the Middle East? So please, Ben, help me better understand the situation.
If you don't mind, can you just say something about what the day itself was like for you?
Yeah. Well,
it can be brief.
Yeah, I know. It's so the day before, actually, I had booked an interview for him that he was not super pleased that I booked for him, but it was a good reason for doing it. But he was like, you know what? I'm tired now, and I want to focus on the tour tomorrow. So you're gonna guest host the show tomorrow.
Charlie's voice is not silent. We're gonna pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it. You know, we couldn't be, frankly, more honored to join you guys as much as we can in the fight.
Thank you for that, and thank you for donating the Daily Wire $1 million. Breaking news on this show. Thank you guys for honoring Charlie so well today.
The guy, the TPUSA guy says, I booked an interview with Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk. Charlie wasn't happy about it. They have that whole argument the day before. And the day after he's killed, Ben Shapiro says, I'm going to be invited to host the show, and I'm going to gift $1 million to TPUSA.
I remember where I was when all this was happening. I was in Los Angeles. I had sort of a breakfast/lunch meeting with somebody, and I got the news that Charlie had been shot, and my security was on the phone with Charlie's security because nobody knew what the hell was going on. Well, Charlie was still in the back of the car, and we were sort of getting updates along the way.
In the back of the car in which he's being transported to the hospital, not ambulance, in the back of the car where Charlie's being transported, not an ambulance, car, Charlie's security team is on the phone with Ben Shapiro's security team? That's the first people that they reach out to.
Hey, and this is just a little update here, but according to the Daily Wire, Ben Shapiro's security team is composed of former IDF commandos. That's according to the Daily Wire. So while he was in the back of an SUV, not an ambulance, Charlie Kirk's security team was contacting Ben Shapiro's security guys, at least some of whom have connections to the IDF, according to the Daily Wire.
It is a very anointed stream. I don't know. I mean, this stuff is in the news. It's the damn news. And this stuff is in the news.
Second, there's visual timelines that show Charlie's body being carried to a vehicle within minutes of being shot. Apparently, he was still alive at the time. Again, I know that only because my security was talking to his security in the car.
This is 3 days before the shooting.
You and I, had people who we thought were conservatives.
Okay, here's the timeline. 3 days before the shooting, this is Ben Shapiro, who the day after the shooting was invited to host Charlie Kirk's show, and the Daily Wire gifted $1 million to Turning Point USA. This is 3 days before the shooting.
Sound a lot like the Marxist Islamists who were attending this event last week, don't they?
I think it's exactly right. Unfortunately, there's a grievance culture that has become the dominant strain on the left that says that all people in the world who are poor, who have bad lives, that is the fault of the West, that is the fault of Israel, it's the fault of capitalism, it's the fault of the Jews, it's the fault of anyone except for themselves. They have no agency, and thus all the systems must be torn down from the rooftops all the way down to the ground. And you see that sort of mirrored on a weird horseshoe part of the right that is now arguing sort of the same thing, that the problems that people have are intractable, that there's a shadowy group that's manipulating all of this, that America actually was never great. America was wrong in World War II. America never landed on the moon.
Absolutely.
And these kind of two forces are now bizarrely joining hands in the middle. It's very strange.
Do you think there's enough of an effort to push back? I find that conservative groups and conservative organizations that have these weekend events and these seminars, whether they're for young people or think tanks or that sort of thing, they
What kind of seminars? What kind of seminars?
They sprinkle these events with these American haters who claim to be American firsters and are fake MAGA and even stab the president in the back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely an attempt by some of these organizations to, quote unquote, maintain the big tent.
Which organizations are we talking about here exactly? What kind of organizations and what kind of events are we referring to? I would like to hear some specifics about these organizations platforming some of these fake MAGA conspiracy theorists.
But the reality is that, as many have said, the problem with a big tent is that you may end up with many, many clowns inside. And the most fundamental thing is that just because you're saying somebody votes Republican, that does not mean that they ought to be the preacher at the front of the church. They're not the person who ought to be leading the movement if they are spending all day criticizing the president of the United States as covering up a Mossad rape ring or being a tool of the Israelis for hitting an Iranian nuclear facility, a thing he has said literally his entire career that he was going to do. And so it seems to me that if we are to hold anything in sort of reverence, it ought to be the fundamental tenets of the American Republic, which I believe to reside in conservatism. And if conservative organizations are simply going to give up the ghost on that in order to maintain a sort of pseudo-coalition, that is a gigantic moral and political mistake.
I wonder which organizations that Ben Shapiro is referring to. It's just a mystery. The mystery wrapped in an enigma. And then he gets booked for an interview the day before. Charlie's not happy about it. Charlie gets shot. Charlie's security is on the horn with Ben Shapiro's guys while transporting him in a car, not an ambulance. They're on the phone with Shapiro's security guys moments later. And the next day, he's hosting Charlie Kirk's show and gifting large sums of money to Turning Point U. Are we all okay with this? And we're just supposed to carry on and just go, oh, this trial's carrying on and this kid's just going to get sentenced and go to prison for the rest of his life, whatever it is, or unfortunate accident's going to befall him. And we're all just supposed to go, yeah, well, the game's on. The big game's on. The big game's on. Let's just not pay attention to it. Let's not think about it too much. This is a real tweet, by the way. This is a tweet from 2011. Ben Shapiro. I would gladly waive the born in USA requirement for presidency for Bibi Netanyahu. Yeah, I thought he was born there. Once again, Ben Shapiro, 2 days before the killing. These organizations that are unfortunately forming this alliance with these Marxists, these America-hating Marxists and Israel-hating Marxists, immediately after the shooting.
Now, it's still up to us. I saw a lot of rumors online today. I was made aware of this by my team that I canceled some sort of college tour. That's bullshit. I saw those rumors. They are false. I will be coming to college campuses, many of them this year.
No one cares. No one cares. No one cares because unfortunately there isn't a market for any of this like uncritical, pathetic Israel worship, especially for young people. No one wants it. No one cares. That's why Daily Wire is falling apart now.
Because we're Americans. And we're not going to be deterred.
Yes, you are.
Charlie's voice is not silent. We're going to pick up that bloodstained microphone where Charlie left it.
His voice is not silent. The voice of this organization that's platforming all these America-hating and Israel-hating Marxist conspiracy people. We're going to pick up that microphone and carry on, chat.
And to those who would intimidate, who would seek to stop us, who would seek to end free discussion, who believe that they have ownership over public spaces, and can violently threaten and kill people who speak freely, we are not going to stop.
Also, no, at that point, zero actual evidence of Charlie's alleged shooter, any information about who carried out the shooting at all.
And I have two words. Fuck you.
Oh.
We will not stop telling the truth.
Oh,
we'll never
my God.
Stop telling
the truth. We will never stop debating and discussing.
We'll never stop telling the truth, like that Charlie Kirk loved Israel and worshipped Israel and wanted everyone to love Israel. We'll never stop telling the truth, according to Ben Shapiro. What truth are we talking about, though? I think that's the question. Very strange. Don't worry, chat, though. We got the official denial on video.
Before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, it's just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing is. It's not only insane.
Yeah, Israel does all these impossible, outrageous things like changing the orbit of the moon and the sun, and also carry out political assassinations. These two equally unthinkable, unimaginable, insane ideas that are both just so crazy and outrageous to even imagine. It's not an AI flag, it's a cone. It's become this like thing that you see sometimes. It's like a literal cone that's designed to look like a flag that's unfurled, but it's like some kind of plastic cone.
I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying this. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this. But
they found the perpetrator. Don't worry. No. This, even though they got away clean, fortunately, the perpetrator came and turned themselves in days later, and we have all this evidence now. So don't worry about that. It's all going to be taken care of.
They have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you couldn't possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things, that continued actually up to the Holocaust.
And that's why we can't talk about Israelis killing Palestinian children anymore, because of this legacy. Or again, tying this legacy of things like blood libel and this kind of stuff with the accusation, whether you believe it or not, that Israel might carry out a political assassination of an influential commentator who was in the process of changing his tune on Israel. These two completely equally insane things and equally racist things.
The Nazis said the same thing. We're carrying vermin, we're spreading disease, and people believed it. And every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust. Well, since then, we've learned,
what does that have to do with Charlie Kirk, sir?
Prepare yourself for the assault. And, they're trying to delegitimize it.
And what's her face? Look at the face she's doing. She finds it so outrageous, these claims. She finds it so outrageous that someone make these claims, and she's going, this mean mugging in the other panel.
They're trying to delegitimize the state of Israel. Charlie Kirk said to me that he wrote me this detailed letter. You have to fight the slander. These untruths, these vilifications have consequences. And he was right. But I'll tell you one thing. We're fighting on the battlefield against the terrorists and winning. And he was fighting on the battlefield of ideas. And I think he was winning. He was going to win. That's why they shot him. I hope they don't silence him. I don't think people will
well,
give
he's
into these
literally silenced.
Ridiculous lies.
Like it or not, he was silenced. I'm just saying, Chad, there's a lot we don't know, and there's a lot of weird things going on with this case. That's all. Remember, who benefits? That's the question that we have to ask. It's not always going to lead you to the truth, but that doesn't mean it's a question that you shouldn't be asking. That's all.